Hey y'all, happy Thursday. They said that cross-examination started in the Young Thug trial, so finally the defense attorneys get an opportunity to cross-examine Woody. I know it started with Brian Steele. I think Max Shart did cross-examination yesterday, and I don't know, did I miss anything? I haven't really seen much about it, so I don't know. I guess we'll just hop back into it, see if anything interesting happened in the cross-examination, and give my reactions as always. Thank you guys so much for coming back. Welcome back, Lunch and Lawyer X.
Job. That's the thing that we were trying to discern if she's experiencing a hardship that makes it, in her mind, necessary that she take the job because of the 2 months pay that she didn't get from the current position.
Right. I don't know that
She
was
said,
not getting 2 months pay. I thought
Get to it. Oh, we'll get to that later.
from-
They must be talking about the jurors, which side note. So the jurors, it's always been my theory that this case, if there's a mistrial in this case, it'll probably happen, or if the case doesn't conclude, it'll probably happen because one of the jurors simply can't just stop their entire life to be in trial every day for a year plus. I mean, obviously, as we know, oh, not the girls texting me. Hold on. Ooh. D&D, I'm working. Yes. So obviously, as we know, the jurors have been on the trial for 100 days and 100 days, 100 nights. Baby, truth is they're tired. Okay. They got to wake up and clock into the Fulton County Courthouse. I know they want to go home. And there have been some issues I've been hearing about the jurors saying, hey, I have personal life things that are going on, and I don't know if I can be here every day. And the judge is like, guess what? I don't care how you get here, just get here if you can. Yes. And so they do have to still go to court every day. And so I think that's what the judge is talking about here, talking about there's an issue with the jurors not being able to come to court, which tracks.
her employer.
I may have misunderstood that. I thought that she said that she didn't get paid once last year and then another month earlier this year.
Yeah, but I thought that was, and we can find
Okay,
out
I'm
more,
about to
but I
fast
had
forward
thought
this
that
because I'm here for the cross
Ultimately-
examination, babe.
Now,
I know why I'm
clear
here.
that she is currently getting paid. I think she just wants another job because she's not happy with this job or something. I don't know. But anything else before we get the jury back in? Nichols gonna Copeland
Donna,
and
we do have to.
oh, okay. Hang on.
Your Honor, we Mr. Shard over the lunch break, and we thank him provided the exhibits that he's
Okay.
intending to
Giving professional.
potentially use.
Okay.
And so the state does have some
Of
objections
course they do.
to a few of his exhibits. And I don't know if the court received a copy of his exhibits.
I don't have a copy. Did you send a copy to Ms. Percifield? Okay. Can somebody so that, or
It's on a
pull them
flash
up or
drive.
something?
It's on a flash drive. Do you have another?
Some easy way for me to be able to look at them.
Don't care. I don't care about the state's objections. Do. I'm skipping through all of this and until Kenneth Copeland gets on the stand because I can't be bothered. I just the state, they always gonna have objections. Almost as if they're trying to stop justice from going forward.
No, we
Let me
don't
not
have
make those accusations. To my FBI agent, to my CIA agent watching, I'm sure absolutely, I love the government. Fuck it, I can't even fake it. Let's go.
May I use a picture?
No.
Okay.
Okay, let's get Mr. Copeland.
What's happening? I don't know what that was. Maybe I need to go back and look at that because that seemed like it was entertaining.
And the jury. All right, Mr. Copeland, come on, have a seat with us. Well, I guess stand up for the jury.
You gotta swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. It's never stopped you before from telling a lie, but I guess today we're gonna see if you're gonna tell the truth. And Woody, if you see this, it's no shade, but child, you know you've been lying. You said it yourself. The jurors are coming in. You gotta wait till they sit down, get situated. Ooh, I'm so tired.
Thank you.
Here we go.
Hope y'all had a pleasant lunch. We good? All right.
How long
All
is
right, Mr. Short, you can proceed with your cross.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Mr. Copeland.
it?
Good afternoon.
Hey, Mr. Copeland, we have never met. Isn't that correct?
No,
Okay. We've seen each other in the hallway.
no, we never met before.
Yeah, we never met. My name is Max Shard, and I'm the attorney that represents Shannon Stillwell, okay?
All right.
All right. And I know you've been asked a lot of questions, and I'm going to try not to repeat questions that you've been already asked. I'm going to do my best.
I won't put-
All right.
All right, great. You do not want to be here today.
Hey, all.
Okay. And the reason you don't want to be here today is not because you're scared, correct?
You know that.
Okay. It is because what you said in 2015 was lies.
You said it again.
What you said in 2015 were lies.
Right.
Okay. And specifically, when you said that Demekion Garlington told you something at that McDonald's about Mr. Stillwell, that was a lie.
Right.
You lied to get out of trouble.
Right.
You lied as part of your finesse
Mm.
to the police.
Right.
You've testified that if the police mentioned anyone, you were going to come up with a story about them to get yourself out of trouble.
As y'all seen.
And the police mentioned Jeffrey Williams.
Right.
They called him a big fish.
Right.
And you lied on Jeffrey Williams.
Right.
Okay. Mr. Copeland, I'm going to ask you, do you still have that listening device?
Huh?
Do you still have the listening device?
What's that?
The ear-
Earbuds.
Oh, they right here.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to play a clip for you, okay? Mr. Kokomo, could you play
Oh God.
what has been marked DS2030?
It's never good when they play a clip for you, baby. He's about to, is this you? Oh Lord.
And for the record, this is a clip from States Exhibit 378 Yankee Echo, which is the June 10th, 2015 interview, and it's from 9:53:35 to 9:54:10.
How long you been doing shit? Long as doing that? Okay. You've been doing shit a good part of your teenage adult life, correct? Y'all.
Mr. Copeland, is it not playing on your?
It just popped up.
Okay, could you start it all over again for Mr. Copeland?
How long you been doing shit? Long as doing that? Okay. You've been doing shit a good part of your teenage adult life, correct? Y'all basically grew up together, right? Went to school together. Y'all like brother. You, Demekion, and Shannon. That's from what I know. Yeah. So I can pretty much assume that if it's something like that that they did, even if you weren't involved in it, you know about it. Because I'm telling you, everything kind of keeps coming back to you. You understand? Because Shannon's out there on the streets now.
Okay, let me tell you something. So Atlanta specifically, and I've been in these situations. So I used to be a prosecutor in Atlanta, and what Atlanta does is they will hire Black police officers, Black prosecutors, people who kind of have that street smarts about them, so that when you get in there and you grew up on the streets and maybe you committed a crime, or they're trying to say that you did commit a crime, or they think you're a suspect for a crime, they can talk to you in a way that reminds you of the way that you were growing up on the street. They can use the slang, you know, they can meet you like they like to say where you are. And so you see that a lot in these interviews. Instead of talking to you kind of the way that they would talk to somebody in court, it's code switching basically. They'll talk to you, oh, like we're brothers, we're friends, we're homies. And you are, in reality, they are none of those things. They are none of those things. They are absolutely trying to get a confession out of you, but they are meeting you where you are and trying to talk to you like they're your buddy so that you feel more comfortable. And we see that a lot in Atlanta, and I'm sure a lot of other police forces do that as well. So here, the officer, the investigator, is asking Woody about Shannon Stillwell. That's Max Shart's client, and saying, y'all know each other, y'all grew up together, y'all are homies. And I guess he's gonna lay the foundation of saying, okay, well, tell me what happened. Get the snitching.
Okay. In that clip, Investigator Gaither is asking you about Shannon, correct?
This sound like it.
Okay.
I can't barely hear it. That's why I took the headphones out.
Are they not working?
No, it's just like the way the way I can hear, it's not clear enough for me. That's why I had to listen like out loud.
Okay, I understand. All right, well, we're going to do our best to work through that, okay? All right. So, regardless, in that clip, I'm going to ask you about that clip, and you can, if you didn't hear it, you didn't hear it. Investigator Gaither tells you that while you're in the interview room with her, Shannon is out on the street. Isn't that correct?
I just heard it.
Okay. Investigator Gaither says to you, if Shannon's involved in something, you know about it, correct?
I didn't hear that. Only thing I heard was just the last part where she said he on the street.
Okay, that's what he said though. He said that.
You now realize that the police were saying some things, such as Jeffrey's on a European tour, or Shannon's on the street and you're in here with us, to try to get you to tell on other people, correct?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Is that how you took those statements at the time?
I don't get what you're saying.
Did you take those statements when Investigator Dennis?
That was funny because it's a classic cross-examination, not even, I'm not gonna say technique, but it's so funny, I think, when lawyers do that. So they'll ask a question that they know they can't ask, but then they'll kind of give you the answer when they're asking the question. So the objection will come and the judge will sustain it, but then you know, oh, okay, so should I be saying then that yes, they were trying to get me to asking me questions to get me to tell. So that's exactly what happened there. And it happens all the time. One day I'm going to learn and understand how to use StreamYard, but that day is not today.
Told you that Jeffrey's on a European tour while you're sitting in the investigator's room, or Shannon's on the street while you're in the interview room. Did you take those statements as invitations to give information on other people?
Yeah, that's what they were doing the whole time. He got these big houses and cars, and that's what I think that was Dennis kept saying it all the time.
Okay. And these conversations and Investigator Gaither talking about Shannon then, that's not the only time law enforcement talked about Shannon in your interviews, is it? They would talk about Shannon a lot.
Yeah, right.
And let me ask you this. These interviews that we have, are those the only time you talk to the investigators about this case?
No.
Okay, you would have phone conversations with investigators, right?
Yes.
Phone conversations with Investigator Gaither that aren't recorded?
What you mean?
Did you record the phone conversations?
Mm-mm.
Have you ever heard a recording of the phone conversations?
No.
Okay, so as far as you know, phone conversations with Investigator Gaither, you had those, right?
Yes.
And as far as you know, they're not recorded.
We had conversations that I ain't heard.
How many conversations would you say you had with Investigator Gaither from January 1st, phone conversations from January 1st to
We
say
talked a lot.
June 10th?
Mm.
Weekly, daily?
I can't a lot.
Okay, what about Investigator Thorpe? You talked to him on the phone?
No.
Okay. What about
I did, but
not as often?
yes.
Okay. What about when they bring you to the interview room? Okay. Obviously, we see videotapes of you in the interview room. Do the police talk to you outside of the interview room before you go in there?
Yes, they do it all the time.
Okay. And are those conversations about what you need to do?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. And what officers had those conversations with you, to your recollection?
Shit, everyone they help me.
Okay. So the bottom line is you said that the state were asking about Jeffrey when Mr. Steele was asking questions, right?
Yes.
Okay. The reality is the state was also asking about Shannon.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
And the reality is you didn't only lie on Jeffrey, but you also lied on Shannon,
That's good.
Yes,
and you also lied on Mr. Kendrick, correct?
yes.
That's good. That's good. So you got to remember, each defense attorney is representing one client, right? There's conflicts of interest, all this stuff. If one defense attorney were to represent more than one client here, because their interests are not always aligned. Sometimes their interests might be at odds. And sometimes one person might have to blame something on somebody else. And so you can't be the defense attorney representing those two people when one of your clients is going to blame the crime on another one of your clients. And so as a result here, he is working in the best interest of his client for sure. He's talking about his client and saying, look, I represent Mr. Stillwell. And so the reality is, not only were you lying on Young Thug, who obviously is the big name in this trial, but you were also lying on my client, Mr. Stillwell. That was good.
You remember when Attorney Steele showed you that video from the Texaco gas station and asked if you saw Jeffrey Williams walking around the Texaco changing cars?
Yes,
Okay, I'm not going to play that video again.
thank God.
Yeah, I don't think you're the only one that's saying that. But when you watched it, you didn't see Shannon changing cars at that Texaco either, did you?
No,
Regarding these lies you told in 2015, you have repeatedly told the state that they were lies, correct?
I told everybody who listened to me.
Okay. I want to ask you about, you mentioned it briefly with Mr. Steele. Remember that on June 10th of this year, we're talking about this year now. Remember when you were in the judge's chambers?
I'm listening.
Do you remember that?
Yes,
Okay. And just so we're clear, you didn't request to speak to the judge or the prosecutors, did you?
No.
I had no clue where I was going.
Okay. And you had been in jail the weekend before,
Yes,
and guards brought you to the judge's chambers.
took me straight in there.
Okay. And when you were brought to the chambers, Miss Hilton was there, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
the SWAT team.
And security, whatever the word you say in the SWAT team. I was not there.
No, I didn't see you.
Okay. Mr. Stillwell wasn't there.
No.
My client, Mr. Stillwell. Shannon.
No,
Okay. And none of the other defense attorneys were there.
no.
Okay.
Okay, we knew that. Let's see where he's going with this.
I want to ask you about some things that were said
Okay.
in that interview. Now, you're aware there was in that meeting on June 10th, okay?
Let's
Now,
get
you're
it.
aware that there's a transcript, correct?
I heard.
Okay. Have you seen the transcript?
Parts.
It was sent to me, but I didn't never look at it.
If I ask you about things that were said in the meeting, would looking at a transcript help?
I guess.
Yeah.
Your Honor,
So he has to do
my
that.
approach with
He has to do that. He can't just give him the transcript. He has to ask the witness if he remembers the transcript, if it's a fair and accurate representation of what, he thinks the transcript should look like, all those foundational, I have to sneeze, questions. All those sort of foundational questions. And now I need to go wash my hands, pause, because okay, I'm back. Sorry. I didn't want to have nasty sneeze gunk on my hands and touch my laptop. So had to wash my hands. I'm back.
what's been marked as DS-33, which is the transcript from the June 10th, 2020.
Yeah, but I mean, ask him about it first.
Mm-hmm.
Ask him about it,
Oh,
and
okay.
then if he needs to see it, then
Okay.
you can give it,
Okay.
you can hand it to him, but
Thank you. Don't look at this unless you need to. Okay?
All right.
there you go.
Mr. Copeland, in that meeting in the judge's chambers, did you tell Ms. Hilton that you've never been truthful in your life? Except when you're telling them that you're a liar.
Right.
Amazing. 10 out of 10.
In that meeting, did you tell Ms. Hilton that, I won't get the quote. So when the police question me, they don't question me every time they lock me up. I don't know how many times that was. I done told them whatever different story I could think of to try to finesse my way out of the situation. I don't recall what I told them.
Yes.
Yep.
Did Ms. Hilton tell you when talking about lying? But if I know that you are lying about that, I do not intend to do that. If I know that right now he's lying, I know he's lying, I'm not going to charge you because I don't know your reason for doing that.
Is that, did she tell me that?
Yes.
Yes.
You were offered immunity by the state, correct? Well, not offered. I say that you didn't
Forced
want immunity,
it.
but they gave you immunity.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they forced it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
To Ms. Hilton, did you tell her I did these crimes?
Yes.
And they have insisted that you testify, correct?
Yes.
They have told you it's okay if you say, I don't recall when asked about your prior statements, correct?
Yes.
Huh?
They told you you can say, well, let me back up. In preparation, the state's met with you several times
Mm-hmm.
in June of 2024, right?
I don't know what you're asking me.
Okay. Take yourself back to June 2024, okay? That was before
What year this is?
This is 24, so a couple of months ago is what he means.
a couple
Okay.
months ago, right? Before you testified at all.
Wait.
Remember the week before you testified?
Mhm.
Okay.
He
Remember
knows
when
what
the state and Ms. Hilton and maybe some other people started coming to find you in the community?
Yes.
Okay. You had a lawyer at the time, right?
Yes.
His name was John Melnick?
Yes.
Okay.
Jonathan Melnick.
To your understanding, did the state, when they were trying to find you in the community, did they reach out to your attorney or did they go behind your attorney to talk to you?
Objection, Your Honor, relevant.
So
To your understanding?
on the relevance, I mean, we've kind of been through all of this.
Can I,
Try a different question.
was Mr. Melnick there for those meetings with Ms. Hilton in the community?
No.
They took you to the courthouse one day before you were to testify, correct?
No. 2 days.
2 days before you were to testify. And was Ms. Melnick there for those meetings?
No.
And you told the state that what you said in 2015 was lies.
Mm.
I told Ms. Hilton.
Okay. I'm going to change subjects, okay? Now, I'm not going to ask anything too personal, but I'm going to ask a little bit about your life, okay? Is that okay with you?
No.
All
Oh,
right. Let me ask you this. At some point in your life, you lived in Mechanicsville.
he said, all right. Anyway, I'm going to ask the question anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. And as I understand it, your life hasn't always been easy.
My life ain't never been easy.
Okay. Your life has never been easy. And there have been times where you have been in dangerous situations in your life. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. I want to ask you about some ways that you avoid dangerous situations. Okay. When you are approaching a stoplight, a red light, do you stop at the red lights?
Objection, Your Honor, relevant.
It's very relevant.
I assume he's going to get to it.
He's getting there.
Do you stop at the red lights?
Let him cook.
Hell no.
Okay, you said hell no.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you stop at red lights?
Because I want to live.
Okay. And when you say because you want to live, what are you afraid of at red lights? What is your concern?
Mm.
Somebody putting up on the side of my car.
Someone pulling up on the side of the car and shooting you, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm.
And so when you pull up to red lights, you might stop briefly, but then you,
I'm not stopping at all.
okay, so you just keep going.
Right through it.
Okay.
Mm. You could kill somebody else.
I appreciate you telling us that information. And is that during the day and night?
There's no any red light.
Okay.
If the police right there, I turn off.
And you've actually told the police this in a prior interview in 2021. You told them that you don't stop at red lights, correct? You told Investigator Flores that.
Probably did.
Okay, what about tinted windows? Do you prefer to drive cars with tinted windows?
This must.
That's a must. Why is that a must?
So people won't know I'm in their car.
Why don't you want people to know you're in that car?
Cause they like to shoot at cars.
Okay, so is that a form of self-preservation? Riding around in cars with tinted windows only?
You better.
Okay.
Mm.
And let me ask you this: with the red lights, are you the only one that does this, or are there other people in your in Mechanicsville and other areas that do that as well, to your knowledge?
Speculation and
Well,
relevant.
he said to your knowledge, I think. I'm
Sure
gonna
not.
allow it.
And he's asking.
Most of the people I know run lights.
Run lights.
Mm.
Okay. What about the tinted windows?
Even my sister and them got tinted windows.
Okay. Finally, I want to ask you about wearing a mask. And when I say a mask, I don't know what to call it. So maybe if you can educate me and the jurors. Talking about a cloth mask with a hole right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do you call that type of mask?
Shit, different stuff. I call it a mask. Some people call it a shiesty. It just got different names to it.
Shiesty.
Okay, I'm just gonna call it a mask, but to be
Alright.
clear, we're talking about the same things. And you've worn those masks before, correct?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
You may.
Mr. Copeland, I am handing you what's the warrant. DS-29A and DS-29B. Okay, are those pictures of you?
Look like it.
Okay, and are those pictures of you? You're not doing anything illegal in those pictures, correct?
No,
Okay,
I'm incorrect.
correct.
I'm not doing that illegal.
Right.
Mhm.
You are wearing those masks I talk about in those pictures, correct?
Right.
Okay. Mr. Kokomo, could you publish 29A and
They're not admitted yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Your Honor, I move to admit DS 29A and 29B.
I assume this is going to be kind of the same lines of testimony. They're admitted over objection.
Period.
Mr. Kokomo, could you just publish?
There was an objection to
29A?
relevance. They keep objecting to relevance. Relevance, almost anything you talk about is going to somehow be relevant in a trial, in my opinion. Like very few things that you're going to ask on cross-examination are going to be irrelevant because you're not just up there asking the witness questions just to shoot the shit or shoot the crap. I'm trying to curse less, but you're not just up there chatting with the witness. You're asking the witness something to prove your case. So most things are going to be relevant. And so here we got an objection to relevance and the judge was like overruled. I'm sure this is going to be relevant as to, I don't know why he's a liar, why he'll say anything, why he'll do anything, why he's afraid for his life, and why he would say anything to preserve himself and preserve his life. I mean, I'm sure that's where this questioning is going.
Okay. We're going to publish 29B.
How long this is again? Ooh, check.
Okay, now, Mr. Copeland, on your screen, that's the type of mask we're talking about, and I just want the jurors to be able to know what we're talking about. Okay. What are those masks made of?
What you mean?
Like what material?
I ain't make it.
Are they made of cloth?
I don't know.
Okay. Are you the only person to wear those masks?
Definitely not.
No, everybody wearing them.
Everyone wears those masks. What year did you start notice everyone wearing those masks?
When COVID came,
About 2020?
Mm-hmm.
when COVID would cause us to wear the mask.
Okay. And are they, okay,
It became more like a fashion thing.
that's what I was about to ask you. It became more of a fashion thing.
Right.
Okay. And where can you buy those masks?
Shit. Anywhere.
Literally.
Gas stations sell those masks?
Yeah.
Okay. Corner stores sell those masks?
Beauty supply store, all that.
Okay. They're not rare.
Huh?
They're not rare.
They're not weird.
Rare. They're not
Unusual.
unusual. They're common.
Right.
Those masks are common. They
Mhm.
come in all different colors,
Yes.
all different sizes.
Yes.
All right. Just because you're running a red light, does that mean you're committing a crime? Other than a driving infraction?
It depends on, I guess. I don't know.
Well, you do it to preserve yourself, correct? To avoid being shot.
Right.
Yeah, avoiding being shot is not committing a crime, is it?
Correct.
You're just protecting yourself.
Okay. When you're riding around in tinted windows, you ride around with tinted windows to the grocery store and other places you go about on your everyday life, correct?
Now, so objection, Your Honor, at this point, I just don't know if this is a relevant line of questioning.
I'm asking
Well,
because it's
it
relevant.
is cumulative.
Okay, well, I have one more question.
Go ahead.
When you're wearing that mask, you just wear that mask in your everyday life, when you're going to the store, when you're going to run errands, doing whatever, correct?
Right.
All right, thank you. Okay. Ms. Copeland, you said that Rice Street is the worst place in the world.
Yes.
You have said that you'd rather die than go to Rice Street.
Yes.
You talked about your stay in Rice Street in, I guess it would be February 21st of 2015, when they arrested you on that probation warrant, and you stayed there for several weeks, correct?
Yes.
Do you remember exactly how long you stayed there?
Yes.
How long?
3 weeks.
3 weeks, okay. So that would have been February 21st to the middle of March of 2015,
Yes.
okay? And in that, first of all, in Rice Street in general, there's dorms, right?
Not where they put me at.
Well, I'm just talking about in general right now. I'm gonna get to where they put you at in a
Yes.
second. There's dorms, and then within the dorms, there's cells,
Yes.
okay? And the cells, how big are the cells?
18 and some ones, 16s and other ones.
Talking about feet?
You said cells?
Yes.
Like rooms?
Yeah, how big are the rooms?
Yeah. 18 rooms and some, 16 and some.
The individual rooms are small, correct?
Yes.
Okay? And everything is made of either concrete or metal, correct?
Yes.
Mhm.
Most of the time you have a cellmate,
All the time.
no privacy,
Correct.
showers in common areas,
Correct.
toilets. You don't get a special room to use the bathroom.
Right.
Okay. It's filthy. You talked about feces.
All the time.
When you on the ground, on the
Baby,
walls,
Rice
things like
Street
that.
is disgusting. And again, if you work at Rice Street, this is all alleged. Allegedly, it's disgusting. And multiple people have died at Rice Street. They had this big issue where they had bed bugs. Somebody died that had like bed bugs bites all over them. It's gross. If you have clients who are at Rice Street, they will oftentimes come to court with black eyes, broken wrists. And I guess that's typical at any prison. Not that it should be. I mean, there's certainly violence at most prisons, but Rice Street particularly, you can just Google it. Google Fulton County Jail. And that's what we call the Fulton County Jail. So we call it Rice Street. I don't know where it got that nickname, but that's what we call it. So just Google the Fulton County Jail and you will see how disgusting and just inhumane it is.
Yes.
Standing water in the showers.
Who?
Standing water.
We call it nut juice.
What do you call it?
Oh,
Okay.
Mr. Sharp, let's get on. We're painting the picture. Let's get on with what you want to ask.
The filth in Rice Street. To avoid that filth, you would be willing to tell lies, correct?
Correct.
Let's talk about the danger of Rice Street. What's a shank?
A knife.
Okay. Knife made of just a random piece of metal, correct?
Whatever you can make with.
Are,
Whatever you find.
are shanks common in Rice Street?
Is they who?
Common.
What you mean?
I keep using that word. Is it unusual for people to have shanks in Rice Street? When I say people, I'm talking about the inmates.
You saying do they have them?
absolutely.
Yes. You better have one.
Okay.
Not better.
And is it a concern of yours that someone that doesn't like you would have a shank in Rice Street?
Yes.
Okay. You know jail, you know Rice Street to be a particularly dangerous place, correct?
Yes.
And it's a particularly dangerous place for you, correct?
Yes.
You would lie to avoid the dangers of Rice Street, correct?
Yes.
I want to talk about the isolation. Okay. In February of 2015, you were arrested, and let's be clear, you feel it was a bogus probation warrant, correct?
It was.
Right. You were on probation and they accused you of not completing your community service.
And I didn't even have community service
Right.
to do.
And even if you did, you never heard of anyone getting locked up for failing to do community service on probation.
I even called my probation officer and she said she didn't do it.
Right. I understand. And so
Mm.
when they locked you up in February of 2015, they put you in isolation, correct?
If that's what you want to call it.
Well, you said, I think the way you described it was the medical unit. There was sick people. It was disgusting. People were talking to themselves.
Yes, people were doing worse stuff than that, eating their stuff.
Okay.
Wow. Mentally, they put him in, I guess, like
you would
health unit.
lie to avoid going back to that place they took you and put you in February of 2015, correct?
You talking about now?
No, I'm talking about on June 10th of 2015. You would have lied to avoid going right back to where they had you 3 months earlier.
Right?
Mr. Kokomo, could you play DS23Q, which is States 378 Yankee Echo, June 10, 2015 at 4:16:13 to 4:16:36.
Do I need to listen to it?
I would appreciate it if you did. Thank you.
Man, I really did in jail. I'm just saying. What I'm saying is, man, I do whatever it takes. Whatever, man. I hate jail. I promise you, God, man.
Because you can't, you want to do the job.
I'm gonna take these niggas guns and bring these out myself. I would set them up myself. I would do whatever it takes. I will, man. I will.
Ms. Copeland, that was you and Investigator Dennis on June 10, 2015, correct?
What did you say?
Yes.
Okay. And you told Investigator Dennis that you'd rather be dead than be sent back to jail.
Well,
Still will.
And you said you will do anything
mm,
to stay out of jail.
That's what it said?
And
mhm.
do anything includes lying on others, correct?
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's what he
All
said.
right. Mr. Copeland, we're going to change the subject a little bit.
You can't underestimate how
I
horrible
want to talk to you about some of these statements you made to the police, okay?
you even explain.
In 2015. All right. And let me just ask you, you know, you said, I don't recall a lot when the police, when the Ms. Hilton asked you about things that you said in your statements in
He
2015.
said the police
right?
about this
Yes.
open.
Okay, and that was 9 years ago?
Same difference.
About?
I guess.
Okay. In these meetings that the DA's office or Ms. Hilton or whomever had with you in June of 2024, prior to you testifying, did anyone offer to play those statements to you to remind you of what you said?
No.
Did anyone give you a transcript of what you said in those statements so you could review them before testifying?
No.
They just told you, if you don't remember, just say, I don't recall, correct?
Yes.
The reality is they just wanted to play those statements. That's why they wanted you here today, correct?
Objection or speculation.
Sustained.
Mm.
Okay. Let's talk about January 11th,
I'm
2000.
sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Let me go back.
Sustained.
Play those statements. The reality is they just wanted to play those statements. That's why they wanted you here today, correct?
Objection or speculation.
Sustained.
Which, yes, it is.
Let's talk.
So the state has been having a credibility issue with Woody. And because he has been so poor for their case when he's on the stand, because he's basically been like, yeah, I lied. I said whatever y'all needed me to say so I could get up out of Fulton County Jail, period. They want to play his old statements and try to make it look like, okay, the old statements years ago, prior to this case even starting, those statements are the truth, not what he's saying on the stand today. And the statements do contradict what he's saying on the stand today. So they're trying to say, okay, those old statements were the truth. And they needed him in trial, once they realized that he was going to get up there and lie, and maybe they already knew that he was going to get up there and be hostile. Now, I don't even think he's been hostile. They knew he was not going to be a good witness for their case. At some point, they made the strategic decision, okay, well, we just only need him here to testify just so we can play his statements, because you need the person who made the statements, for the most part, in court to play their statements. And so they said, that's fine. And they just wanted to play those statements so the jury could hear the statements he made. And the jury is going to have to decipher credibility between those old statements and these statements. So what Max Sharp said is correct. I mean, in my opinion as well, they just asked Woody to come and testify so that they could play his old
Talk
statements.
about January 11th, 2015. Okay.
But there
That was in a
was a speculation objection because you can't, Woody would have to speculate as to why the state called him on the stand, right? I feel like we know, but the law doesn't work like that, right? It doesn't work like you feel like you know something. You have to know something for sure. Either you saw it, right? It happened firsthand. That's a great example. And so he doesn't know why the state forced him to testify and forced him to take immunity. Or much more pertinently here, he doesn't know why the state has him present there. What am I trying to say? Essentially, he can't answer the question as to why the state did something. Only the state can answer that question. Only they know what they're thinking. But I agree with Max. I mean, that's exactly why they called him there. And as a legal professional, and not even that, as just somebody who has common sense and as someone who is watching this trial, that was a correct assumption, not even assumption, statement by Max Sharp. And even though the objection was sustained, the jury, they heard it. And so now they're probably going to be thinking, well, dang, maybe he was only called here so that the state can play those old statements and make us sit there and listen through hours and hours and hours of statements.
Early morning hours of January 11, 2015, right?
What?
You met with Detective Thorpe.
Oh, yes.
Early morning hours of January 11, 2015. Okay. And you've stated you went to that meeting. You went voluntarily to clear your name, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you met with Detective Thorpe at the police headquarters, correct?
Yes.
You knew Detective Thorpe to be the lead investigator on the Donovan Thomas case. That's what he told you.
I can't remember.
Okay. Certainly, he asked you questions about the Donovan Thomas case, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And let's just talk about the timing of this meeting. If, and I know we're saying it, if Demekion had told you something at the McDonald's, right?
Now listen.
This meeting with Detective Thorpe would have been hours after Demekion made that statement, correct? It would have been the same night, just after midnight.
But he never told me that.
I understand. I understand he never told you that, but I'm saying if he did.
Oh, you saying that
The meeting was mere hours after.
it would have been?
Right, it would have been. Okay. And Detective Thorpe asked you about the Donovan Thomas shooting, correct?
That's what his purpose of calling me down there.
And you showed up, and you went through your movements that day, correct?
Yeah.
Your movements from January 10th, 2015.
I think I did. He asked me where I been. That's what you asked me?
Right. And you went into details about everything that happened that day, correct?
I guess.
Okay. That meeting on January 11th, 2015, you never claimed that Demekion Garlington told you that Shannon Stillwell, Diamante Kendricks, Duwop, and Nard killed Donovan Thomas, did you? You never told him that on January 11th, 2015.
No, I didn't.
Okay. And the reason you didn't tell him that is because you hadn't made up that lie yet, correct?
Right.
Let's talk about January 28th, 2015. That was your second recorded statement. And I understand what you've testified to. There may have been phone calls and all sorts of other communications in between there with police. But January 28th, 2015 was your second recorded statement. Okay. You met with Investigator Dennis, Investigator Gaither, and Detective Thorpe on January 28th, 2015, correct?
I don't know the date, but yes.
Okay. And they certainly asked you about the Donovan Thomas shooting, correct?
I don't remember what they asked me.
Okay, well, I'm going to play a clip.
Mm.
But you would agree that January 28th, 2015 would have been 18 days after, if Demekion Garlington had told you that information, it would have been 18 days later, this statement.
I guess. I don't keep up with time.
Okay, 28 minus 10 is 18. So 18 days between January 10th, 2015 and January 28th, 2015. You with me?
All right.
All right, cool. Mr. Kokomo, could you play DS-20A, which is States 378 Yankee Beta from 722.37 to 724.40.
What do you think, man?
Okay.
You're prime suspect, but move yourself out there.
Okay, did you hear Investigator
No.
Dennis ask you, who do you think killed Nutt?
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Who you think did?
Drop out such that.
I'm just saying, like, word on the street is, basically you've been tried, convicted within the street. They're
Now they said two of my other partners, well, not no boy, but
who?
they my head and dog. But they ain't have anything to
Who
do
was
with
that?
it. Not locked up.
Who was that? Clarence.
I think it's his name. Cause I seen like Mexico. Oh, yeah. So they think they did. Yeah, they think they did. You know what I'm saying? They trying to make it
What
like.
do you think? Like, I'm not, what do you think? What do you think happened?
Okay, right there, you said to Investigator Dennis, when asked who you think killed Nut, you're saying, they're saying, meaning the streets, right?
Right.
Streets are saying Head and Doc, who are two people you know.
Right.
Those are street names, Head and Doc.
Right.
Streets are saying they did it, but you don't believe that.
Right.
Okay.
Like, real shit.
I think it got something to do with them. I think they did something. They got another beef somewhere else. Cause I been hearing stories like they're supposed to ran off on somebody with something. You know what I'm saying? But it
When you said referring to If Gang, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I paused in the middle. I probably shouldn't have, but you started talking about the rumor was Nut ran off with something.
That's what I said.
Okay. And something would be narcotics.
Yes.
it's uncooked. All these on him because I'm with Thug and Birdman and he come back to them. So they're not supposed to ran off on somebody with some and some jury. I don't know if they didn't say what it was. He's like he's supposed to ran off on them or something. And Rich Homie Corn supposed to gave him $50,000 to meet a new plug. Like Rich Homie Corn told him this out his mouth. Yeah. And Rich Homie Corn like he got $25,000 to have T killed. It's like from the picture you just showed. Nah, tell you who just got shot last night. Oh, in the car over there. Okay. He had 25.
Okay. So you continued to say that the rumor was that Nut, or I should say Donovan Thomas, you said Nut, ran off on someone and that something would have been narcotics.
That's what I said.
Right. Nowhere in that answer did you say, well, Demekion Garlington told me that Shannon and Mr. Kendricks and Doo-Wop and Nard killed Nut.
I did say that.
You didn't say that on January 28th.
I didn't say that.
Correct. I'm going to ask you to listen to what's been marked as DS20B, which is that same interview from 7:50:56 to 7:52:50.
But he never spoke on.
Why would people saying Birdman has something to do with all this?
That's what they gonna do. They gonna do what they. Like, I realize it. You know what I'm saying? They say they back me up. It might be, but they paying for it. So
They finance.
yeah, that's what they saying. So I just like, man, whatever.
What about Nut stole his watch?
Stole what?
Birdman watch.
I doubt it. So when you go and burn that house, you not gonna go anymore. The Shannon caught him right there. But like every time in the Birdman house, you go in the living room. Nobody go in his room.
What about Kale and Greedy stealing the watch? Stealing from the phone?
You never heard anything back.
What about Kale knocking out Nut? Got it?
I ain't gonna say I doubt it. I ain't.
Never heard that.
I don't say I doubt it. Because when him and Thug, like, he was like, well, I'm gonna tell Nut like this.
Like his big house.
Yeah. Like the big brother, like I'm telling like the boss. Yeah, like he just like I gotta tell Nut what he need to say. I'm looking like, I gotta tell Nut, but I ain't never seen that. Like yeah.
What about Thug knocking out Nut?
Like I said, I really can't say like when it comes out of Nut, I don't know. I don't know nothing about it. Who did you hear? You said that you heard just in the streets that Head and who was the other dude? No, they said they got locked up for it. Head got locked up with the gun, they killed Nut and all this shit. Yeah. Yeah, like
It'd be like, it'd be 50% true, 50% false.
it'd be 100% lie.
No, he did get locked up.
Okay. So in that clip, Investigator Dennis is again asking you about your theories about who killed Donovan Thomas, correct?
That's what I heard.
And he floated a theory about Birdman being behind killing Donovan Thomas because Donovan Thomas stole a watch of Birdman's, right? You heard that?
Yes.
And you said you don't know anything about that or you doubt it, correct?
Yes.
All right. And then he asked about Greedy. And Greedy is Donovan Thomas's brother, right?
I guess.
Okay. And you said you didn't know anything about that.
Right.
Okay. And then he asked about Kel.
Yes.
Kelvin Watts, Kel. killing Donovan Thomas, and you said you never heard anything about that.
Yes,
And then he asked about, I think he said Thugger. We're talking about Jeffrey Williams, and you said you don't know nothing about that.
right.
Correct? All right. That second time when you were asked about your theories about who killed Donovan Thomas, you never said that Demekion Garlington told you that Shannon, Mr. Kendricks, Nard, and Doo-Wop killed Donovan Thomas, did you?
Because he didn't tell me that.
I understand. Okay.
Mm.
I'm going to play DS20C, and I'm going to ask you to listen to this clip as well.
My girl, she get a lot of information from her friends. She got a lot of friends, so they get around me. Lucina was talking in the studio, and there was a girl in her. We mentioned one of them, and she was my girlfriend. And she said, ain't nobody do that, nothing. You know what I'm saying? They was all like Kill and K Ross, man. You know what I'm saying?
Kill who?
K.
Who's that?
I sent you pictures there too then. I think I sent it to others. They had Chop in the picture. Oh, yeah. In the gym in the car. Yeah, them two. Ross, man. And they supposed to came back. They was talking about the studio. You know what I'm saying? They just put my name on it. They covered it up. Make it seem like they ain't got beef in the streets, whatever. Yeah. And then they like, she be like, they know we ain't do it. You know what I'm saying? But they gonna keep playing on him. And she be like, K, when the nigga got killed, K first one called everybody like, we killed Nut. We killed Nut. Tell them on there, we did. He first one started my name. And they like, Kill went along with it. So they had J. Ross, like, then they did. Like, Nut died, then they started. That same day? I don't know when. They like, they J. Ross, man. And they supposed to come back for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, Kill Ross, Fly, Plug, Fly. He wrote one of them.
So, in that clip, Mr. Copeland, again, you were asked about your understanding or what you've heard about who killed Donovan Thomas, correct?
Right.
And you said that you said that your girlfriend or a female friend of yours was at the studio and she was told that Kel and Kay had robbed somebody.
That's what I said.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And that the people that Kel and Kay robbed came back and killed Donovan Thomas as revenge for being robbed.
Yes.
And you said that Kay then started putting it on you to cover his own tracks.
Yes.
And you also specifically said your understanding was Kelvin Watts, the robbery he did was to Fly's plug.
Yes.
Okay. And so we're clear. Fly is Mr. Dervin Henry. Do you know his government name?
No.
Okay. He's someone who runs clubs, correct? And runs TIG, the record label.
I guess.
Okay. And when you say plug, what do you mean by plug? That's a drug distributor, correct?
That's just a phrase that we use. I don't know.
Is it involved in the drug game?
I guess.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The bottom line is you gave, on that third clip, you gave some more information about things you heard, but you never said, detectives, let me tell you, Demekion Garlington told me that Shannon, Mr. Kendricks, Doo-Wop, and Nard killed Nut. Did you?
I never said that.
And the reason you never said that on January 28, 2015 is because you hadn't made up that lie yet, had you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you had, or no, you hadn't?
I haven't. Like.
Okay, and the reason you hadn't made up that lie, let's just be clear, on January 28, 2015, no one was trying to lock you up, right?
I just didn't have no reason to.
Right. You had no reason to finesse at that time.
Right. They lost like I was.
I want to ask you about February 20th, 2015. On that date, you met with investigator Curry, correct? And let me just, I think his name is Curry, it might be Kerr, but it was the investigator about those people shooting at you while you were holding your baby. Remember that?
Yes.
And you remember that investigator?
Damn.
I remember. I didn't know their name, but yeah.
And that would have been 40 days if Demekion Garlington had in fact told you that my client and others were responsible for Donovan Thomas's death. That would have been 40 days after you received that information, if that had occurred, right?
I don't get it.
Okay. It would have been a little bit over a month. February 20th, 2015 is a little bit over a month from January 10th, 2015, correct?
Gotcha. Yes.
Okay. And you were asked in that interview, about the Donovan Thomas situation, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I don't remember, I don't know.
All
I
right.
can't.
Well, you didn't say anything about Demekion Garlington telling you that Shannon and Mr. Kendricks and Duop and Nard had killed Donovan Thomas in that interview, did you?
Nope.
And the reason is because you hadn't made up the lie yet, right?
Right.
February 21st, Detective Gaither and Detective Thorpe had you in there. And they were arresting you for that bogus probation warrant, right?
Yes.
And you knew it was bogus. You didn't think that it was actually going to stick, did you?
Right.
They asked you about the Donovan Thomas case. And this would have been 41 days after Demekion supposedly gave you that information, right?
Right.
And you never told them that Demekion Garlington told you that Shannon, Mr. Kendricks, Duop, and Nard killed Knott, did you?
Right.
Mhm.
We can agree that in the 4 recorded meetings prior to June 10th, 2015, you never claimed Demekion Garlington said those things about my client or Mr. Kendrick, correct?
Right.
So let's talk about June 10th, 2015 and what makes that date different.
He was facing charge. He was about to get locked up.
On June 10th, 2015, okay, we're going to that interview. You with me?
Yes.
All right, appreciate you. You met with Investigator Gaither, Investigator Dennis, Investigator Thorpe, and Federal Agent Cunningham, correct?
No. I didn't meet with him.
They brought you to the interview room and they came in the room.
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
you didn't choose to meet with them.
No.
All right, and let's just talk about the circumstances. And I'm going to show you a picture that's already in evidence. I believe it's 378 Yankee.
Pause. Let me do my. The ghetto. Oh, it's still working. Wait, what?
That is a picture of you in the interrogation room on June 10, 2015, correct?
Yes.
I'm going to just wait till we can display this.
Sorry if it's gotten ghetto, y'all. Hold on. There we go. We're back.
Can you display it? Oh, actually. Thank you, Mr. Atkins. All right, Mr. Copeland. When you go to jail, you wear a blue jail outfit that's given to you by the Fulton County Sheriff Department, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and it says Fulton County Jail or Fulton County inmate on the shirt and the pants, correct?
Yes.
You absolutely hate wearing that blue outfit, correct?
Without a doubt.
Okay. In this picture, you are not wearing one of those blue outfits. You're wearing street clothes, correct?
Right.
Okay, but let's just be clear. In that picture on June 10, 2015, when you're being interviewed, your hands are shackled together, correct?
Mhm.
Yes.
You have leg irons on, correct?
Yes.
And the leg irons are attached to an anchor on the ground, so you cannot get up and run,
Got
I
it.
heard him.
and they're hurting.
Ooh,
And you knew
going nowhere.
that it was only, unless something drastic happened, it was only a matter of hours before you were going to have a blue Fulton County jumpsuit on, correct?
Ariana.
Yes.
The circumstances of you being brought to that interview room on June 10th, 2015, where federal agents kicked down Miss Quarterman's door that day, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and they kicked down that door looking for you because they had an arrest warrant for you.
My God,
Yes.
why are they always
They had an arrest
kicking out
warrant for you.
doors? This is like I think I'm just triggered by this right now because I was just reading a different article about LULAC, people in Texas who, one of the people got their door was kicked in. Can y'all just knock? Why y'all gotta kick down the damn door whenever you and scare the bejesus out of everybody?
For the April 28, 2015 possession of a firearm incident at the Dunbar Rec Center.
Yes,
Okay. And while in the apartment, they saw some things, correct?
yes.
And they went and got a search warrant.
I don't know.
You're not sure if they got a search warrant. Okay. The bottom line is they searched your apartment.
They did.
Okay. And they found a Smith & Wesson handgun in the kitchen of that apartment, correct?
They found a gun. I don't know what kind.
Okay. Was it a handgun?
I never saw it.
They also found
Oh,
a
that's right.
stolen laptop computer in your apartment, correct?
That's what they said.
All right. They also searched Deshaun's car, correct?
No,
Well, didn't they find stolen IDs and other stolen property?
that was a rental car from
Okay.
how mama ran it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that clarification. They found a stolen IDs and other property in a rental car that was associated with you, correct?
Mm,
That you had been driving.
Yes,
wait a minute. The Infinity?
And also on June 10th, 2015, your daughter's birthday was coming up,
7 days.
7 days from that date.
Yes,
And you had plans to have a big celebration for her birthday.
yes,
Mm,
Even though you didn't have a blue jumpsuit on during the interview, investigator Gaither informed you that you were under arrest for various charges, correct?
yes,
And you were under investigation for various other charges.
yes,
Okay. She told you that you were being charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon for the gun at the Dunbar Rec Center.
yes,
She told you that you were being charged with reckless conduct for leaving the gun on the bleachers at the Dunbar Rec Center.
yes,
She told you that you were being charged with gang charges for possessing a gun at the Dunbar Rec Center.
yes,
And you knew that you knew that you weren't getting a bond for the gang charges at
Right.
first appearance.
right.
You were going to have to sit for a while
Yeah.
because of those gang charges,
Yes,
unless something drastic
That's
happened.
right. You don't get that's right. So Woody,
You were also told
this is exactly what I was saying in a different video. Woody is a very savvy witness, a very savvy person. He is someone who has been in and out of the criminal justice system, sounds like for the better part of his life. And what I mean by that is for a large portion of his life. He knows what charges he can get a bond at first appearance on and which charges he cannot get a bond. So in this case, they're talking about the gang charges, which means you will not get a bond at first appearance. First appearance, you get arrested on Tuesday night, you have first appearance Wednesday morning, and that's a bond hearing, a bail hearing, as they call it in other portions of the country. And he knows that that it's not a bailable offense at first appearance. So he knew he wasn't going to get released on bail. And so he's making these decisions and these calculations, is what the defense attorney is saying, based upon trying to get released and try to get a bail or not. So that is where the conversation is going. Yeah.
that they were that they were investigating the stolen MacBook computer found in your apartment.
yes,
You were told that they were investigating the stolen IDs and other property that was found in the rental car.
yes,
And investigator Gaither told you that she knew that stolen property found in the rental car was taken during a series of auto breakings in the area, correct?
yes,
You also had a Henry County bench warrant.
yes,
I believe you had another bench warrant out of the city of Atlanta involving a four-wheeler.
mhm.
You don't remember that?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Okay, that's fair. And eventually, investigator Cunningham also told you that you were facing potentially federal charges
Yes,
for the gun that was found in the apartment, correct?
yes,
Okay. Investigator Gaither told you it's real now, it's about to be real, right?
yes,
What'd you take that to mean?
exactly what she said.
She was telling you the way you took it, it was time to get to talking, correct?
Yes,
If you wanted to get out anytime soon.
yes,
They told you that there was no way around that charge at the Dunbar Rec Center, that it was on video,
yes,
that you were dead to rights,
yes,
that they had all the control in the situation, correct?
yes. I think it's that open and shut case.
And let's be clear. even though you don't have that jail uniform on in this picture, you were thinking about how you just got out of jail 3 months prior.
It's your baby's birthday.
You had just been in jail
You ain't trying to go back.
in that horrible unit with feces and people talking to themselves and people eating whatever they were eating and the isolation. And you were thinking about that on June 10th, 2015, correct?
Yes.
Could you play, Mr. Kokomo, could you play what's been marked DS23B? And this is from States 378 Yankee Echo 94048 to 94229.
Oh my God, Woody, don't yawn. You're going to make me yawn.
Okay, what you're here for is your warrants from Number City. Can you tell me what's going on with that? Can you tell me what's going on with that? With that equipment? How'd you get it? Number one. Because I got a version of how you got it. I want to hear from you. How'd you get that? How did you get it? I got it. Because you had it. We got the video, bro. We got the video. So my question is to you, how did you become in possession of that? We ain't really gonna do back and forth today. I know y'all.
We ain't going back and forth today. That's what Investigator Gaither told you.
Say that again.
We ain't going back and forth today.
Right.
You took that to mean that they are in complete control, correct?
Just what it means.
That's what it sounds like.
You took that to mean that you needed to tell them what they wanted to know, or you weren't getting out, correct?
This is it. That's what I took it as.
You are, because I'm sitting that place. This is an opportunity for you to help you. I'm asking not you.
Okay. You just heard Investigator Gaither say this is your opportunity for you to help you. Heard that?
Yes.
You took that to mean that this is your chance to give the state or give the police what they want to help your situation.
Nah, this is just a game time. It's time for me to finish my way.
And do you remember when Attorney Steele played that video? I guess it was yesterday with Agent Cunningham talking about the federal charges. Okay, I'm not going to play that video again.
Thank you.
But I am going to talk to you about a few things that were said. You asked, I got charges with the feds, and Agent Cunningham said, it's up to you. It's totally up to you. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. The police are telling you that you can talk your way out of this situation if you work with them, correct?
Yes.
Agent Cunningham told you you're clearly guilty. She told you that they had you dead to rights. Do you remember that?
I think she said open and shut case.
Okay. You took that to mean they have complete control and you need to play their game if you wanted to get out, correct?
Yes.
Agent Cunningham told you about the charges you were facing. She told you that federal sentences don't have parole,
Yes.
no early release.
Yes.
She
Sure.
told you that with federal cases, they don't typically let prisoners stay in Atlanta, right?
Right.
She said that they were typically going to send you to some other state to serve your federal time behind this.
Right.
You didn't want to be separated. You love your daughter, don't you?
With all my heart.
You post about your daughter on Instagram and you're proud of your daughter, correct?
Yes.
And you consider yourself a good father, don't you?
I try to be.
Okay. And you did not want to be separated from your daughter in some federal prison in another state, did you?
Who want to?
Exactly.
Understood.
Yeah.
And Agent Cunningham also said that to her understanding, you're a 3-time convicted felon, making you an armed career criminal in the federal system, correct?
Basically, she said
You
that
hearing that?
you going to prison. You ain't going to jail. You ain't going up the road, Fulton County, Wright Street, baby. You going to prison. And you're not coming back out. So he's setting the scene. I'm telling you, these investigators, they did it to themselves. They get you in there. They'll say, oh, well, don't you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 8 M's, 8 felonies in your bank account? on your rap sheet. You don't tell us what we want to hear, baby. We sending you all the way up the road, never to return, never to see daylight. You want to play with your daughter again? You better play motherfucking ball, and you better get in the ring, and you better do what we're telling you to do. That's what happens here, and that's how they get these confessions. And by confession, I mean people lying and saying whatever they need to say to not go to prison, and so they can get released and spend time with their daughter on their daughter's birthday.
She told you that you were facing 15 years without parole,
Mm.
plus another 10 years
Mm.
without parole
Mm.
for the gun charges, correct?
Child.
Yes,
25 years without parole, and that's not even including the conspiracy charges.
right.
You were 23 at the time, and Agent Cunningham told you if you don't play ball, you're going to be locked up in a federal prison in another state until you are 48 years old.
God.
Isn't that correct?
Day.
Yes,
Wasn't that said to you
yes.
Woo.
on June 10th, 2015?
In the interrogation room.
Miss Agent Cunningham also said that all this is up to you. It's totally up to you, right?
Yeah, fucking right.
Yes,
She told you that she reports to the U.S. attorney, and she can tell the U.S. attorney what you did to help yourself out.
I think we all heard what she said to me,
Okay? Well, what did you take that to mean?
that I need to help myself out.
Mhm.
Does that include lying on others?
It sure do.
That means
Yeah.
that this is my chance to get myself out of this situation.
It was time to finesse?
Yeah,
Because one thing about it, he going home.
Could you, Mr. Kokomo, could you play 23E? And for the record, Your Honor, DS-23E is States Exhibit 378 Yankee Echo, 1031 to 103250.
Okay, pause.
Do you understand the rank that Nut had? Do you understand the rank that Nut had?
Yeah.
What was he? And
I didn't know he
he was like a third or fourth ranking blood in Georgia.
But what I'm saying is, bro, they were between third and
When you go to prison, your name is on there, regardless of if you did or if you didn't. Thug ain't in jail. Thug ain't in jail. Thug on the European tour, whatever the fuck.
Did you just hear Investigator Dennis pointing out while you're in the interrogation room, Doug, Mr. Jeffrey Williams is on a European tour?
I couldn't understand nothing that was said.
Okay. Did Investigator Dennis bring up the European tour that Jeffrey Williams on? Is that something you brought up, or Investigator Dennis, to your recollection?
I guess he did.
Nobody's gonna go courtside for that. And that's no protective custody. It's you. So you must go out to speak on what you need to. If you need
Oops, I should have stopped the recording. Oh, well, I didn't.
speak on what you need to speak on, help.
Okay. Did you hear Investigator Dennis say that you were going courtside?
Yeah, I can't hear it the way it sounds.
Okay. And that's okay. Did you hear him? I'm just going to keep asking. If you didn't hear. Did you hear him saying that there's no protective custody?
I don't know what he said.
Goddamn.
I can't say I can't.
Did you hear him say you need to speak on what you need to speak on right after bringing up Jeffrey Williams and the European tour?
Y'all ears work better than mine. So you heard what he said.
Okay.
I can't say.
Okay. I'm going to play another
Oh, my, that's
portion of the clip. I'm going to ask you to listen, but I understand if you can't hear it, you can't hear it. Can you play?
Yourself. That's what you gotta think about
Like, even
yourself.
though I'm still going to jail, period. You going to
You going to jail today.
but you can determine how long you want to stand for interim.
Did you hear Investigator Gaither tell you you're going to jail,
I heard it.
but how long?
No, I can't hear it again.
Yes.
What you gotta think about
Like, even
yourself.
though I'm still going to jail, period. You going
You going to jail today.
but you can determine how long you want to stand for interim.
What did you take that to mean when Investigator Gaither says you're going to jail, but you get to determine how long?
She gave me hope.
And what would you have to do to determine? You wanted to not be in jail at all, but certainly not long, correct?
Right.
So what did you feel you needed to do?
Listen to her and seeking happiness my way out of it.
Does that include lying?
That's the first thing first.
Okay, Mr. Kokomo, could you play DS23D, which is states 378 Yankee Echo, 10:04:20 to 10:06:25?
I ain't had no boys like the shooting, buddies. I didn't have no boys. I just bad. I just ain't gonna do it for the same. I mean, when they started doing this shit, everybody call my name because they all who did it. Then they be coming naming these songs. It ain't even me. I mean, the way y'all get me, y'all supposed to do shady them that shit.
Did you just hear yourself say that people are accusing you of things?
Bro, I can't hear nothing in there, bro.
Okay, could you play
Yeah,
it again,
the
Mr.
sound is
I
good.
can't hear it. You can play it 1,000 times. I
Okay,
can't
we're
hear
going
it.
to try it one more time because I think it's important. But Mr. Copeland, if you can't hear it, we'll move on, okay?
Y'all ears are better than mine.
I understand that. I'm not blaming you.
I ain't had no boys like the shooting, buddies. I ain't had no boys. I just bad. I just ain't gonna do it for the same. I mean, when they started doing this shit, everybody call my name because they all who did it. Then they be coming naming me songs. It ain't even me. I mean, the way y'all get me, y'all supposed to do it. Shady them that shit.
Okay. Mr. Copeland, did you hear yourself say, I just hang out with Thug for the fame?
No.
Okay. Did you hear yourself say that people are saying that you're committing these crimes, certain crimes, but it's not you?
I didn't hear. I heard. I said Shannon's name, but I don't know what I said with it.
Did you hear? Well, do you remember, regardless of what you heard, do you remember saying everything that people are blaming me for, they need to look at Shannon?
I probably did. I can't
Okay.
hear what I said.
Now that you had this immunity agreement from the state, you acknowledge that you were committing crimes back then, correct?
What you mean?
Well, you've acknowledged that, and we're going to get to it later, but you've acknowledged that you and Threat shut up Rich Homie Kwan's dad's barbershop.
Daddy
for
barbershop.
instance, right? You testified to that.
You did, baby.
Okay. So when you said, I ain't doing nothing, when people are blaming me, they need to be looking at Shannon, that was not true. That was you trying to shift blame from yourself. That was you finessing.
But I already said it.
I understand that. But that's an example of you finessing, correct? And shifting the blame from you to Shannon, right?
I said it to you, and I said it to them, and I'm saying it again. I have lied, and you're gonna keep sitting here asking me the same question you just said a minute ago. That you weren't gonna do ask me the same question.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna play something not that you said, what other people said to you, okay? And I'm gonna ask you to listen. And if you can't hear, you can't hear, okay?
All right.
Family else, I can't take care of my kids, man. I mean, fuck that, man. I ain't did nothing. I ain't shoot the houses. I ain't shot nobody. I mean, man, only I had a gun because the judge told me, man, I had the right to defend myself. Because the same night I got killed, I came down here. I don't really tell them. But this is what I'm just thinking, like, man, they need to throw it. I don't, even right now, I'm still thinking, like, man, I'm just fuck myself up. I'm just first.
I don't know what he's saying.
Yeah. I want to say,
I don't know. I don't make that decision.
I ain't have no foot.
Keep going. I'm
I
sorry.
would talk to the USA. The judge thinks.
Did you hear yourself ask Agent Cunningham if your case is going to the feds?
Yes.
Did you hear Agent Cunningham say, I don't know, I just talked to the AUSA?
No.
Okay. Keep playing.
Decision on, what's going down.
I ain't had no bullshit. I ain't
But you were, I don't think you, I don't know if you had no more than that, that's yet to be determined, but you had every part of the gun that was found today.
No, you keep saying the gun don't come today. I didn't have that gun. Nobody said y'all don't fingerprint. My fingerprint, I would come back on the gun.
Do you know what actual constructive possession is?
Been around.
Yeah, be around.
But I didn't know it was in there though. Just like she said she didn't know, I didn't know. Man,
I'm
I'm
not
mad.
even, the baby didn't know, she okay.
Now this is what I'm saying here. Me and her did, know what I mean, we were there. Know what I mean? But I wasn't there yesterday.
But you were there this morning when they found it, sweetheart.
You know how I got there this morning? You know how I had to do it.
But that's irrelevant, you were there. They came and spotted you up, it was there, you were there. That's all I need. That's on you.
So what you need me to do? I don't know, I did trying to do
I mean, that's on you.
This shit is on me. It ain't no way I can get out of it.
Help yourself.
I'm trying to do something.
Tell myself you, that's you talking. That's a good start.
Did you hear yourself, Mr. Copeland, ask Agent Cunningham, what do you need me to do? I'm just trying to get out of jail.
Yes.
Okay. And did you hear Agent Cunningham respond, you help yourself. You help yourself.
Yes.
Help us help you.
Yes.
You're talking, that's a start.
I said yes.
Okay. Help us help you. Did you take that as it was time for you to finesse, to start telling stories on others,
It's
to
finesse.
get yourself out of the situation?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I got one more clip I'm going to ask you to listen to, Mr. Copeland. And this is actually from February 21st, 2015. Ms. Kokomo, I'm going to ask you to publish what's already DS24A, which is already, it's a clip from States Exhibit 378 Yankee Delta from 433.33 to 436.11. And again, that's from the February 21st, 2015 interview with Investigator Gaither and Detective Thorpe, okay?
They rushed on me. You know how they got me in jail? They got me in the back. Somebody protecting me. If you feel like you need to protect me, why don't you get me out of jail? No, it don't quite work that way. It's understand.
Now, you recognize that as Detective Thorpe's voice, correct? He's not on the video. He's off the camera, but you recognize that as his voice, correct?
You play it again?
Yep. Just back up 5 seconds.
Yeah. No, it don't quite work that way. It's understand. It is not Burger King. You're not gonna have it your fucking way. I ain't trying to play myself.
You remember Detective Thorpe telling you that?
Ooh,
Yes.
language.
All right. Well, I'm going to ask you to listen to what he tells you. I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page with Detective Thorpe, okay?
I haven't done no. Hear me out, because you need to get somebody who's gonna talk real shit to you. I ain't gonna fuck around with you. I already gonna told you. I'm not gonna hold your hand. I'm not gonna help you cross the street. None of that. Let me hear me. You locked up for probation violation. Whatever happened between you and the parole board and the probation unit, that's on y'all. That's on y'all. Now, myself and Detective Gaither, we're gonna take time out of our off day to get you out of jail and talk to you to see whatever information you give can be used to help you. What you gotta give in order to get. All you want to think that all you want is give me. But you want to give nothing back.
We came up here on our off day to just so graciously talk to you and help you get out of jail. We don't get anything out of this at all, except for more convictions, more evidence for all of our other cases, potentially raises, potentially increased job, getting moved higher up on the hierarchy and praise and prestige. But we're here on our day off to talk to you, and we're trying to do you a favor. Get the heck out of here.
I didn't finish. I didn't as I told you before, you and I, we're not going to do a 68. I'm not going to blow you and you owe me one. No, it don't work that way. You understand what I'm getting at? Because I don't fuck around with you no more. You want
Mr. Copeland, that was on February 21st, 2015. You would agree that Detective Thorpe made these comments to you before you first lied and said that Mr. Garlington told you the information on Shannon and others, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And Investigator Thorpe said, I ain't gonna F around with you, right?
yes,
You have to give in order to get.
yes,
You want to say, give me, give me, give me. You don't give back.
yes,
And of course, the give me was you getting out of trouble, getting out of jail, right?
right,
Okay. You and we aren't going to do a 68. I'm not going to blow you and you owe me one.
right,
You
Same.
said that?
yes,
Did you understand the message that he was getting across when he said that?
69, but okay.
We are not going to no DA and say, you cut us a break and he ain't give us nothing. You heard him say that?
right.
Go ahead.
I have the information, but I'm not gonna say anything else. Y'all need to go ahead and take me out of jail, and I'm good after that. No, brother, it don't work that way. Whatever fucking TV show you was watching, them motherfuckers was wrong. I don't even look at TV.
I can't hear
So
you.
whoever told you whatever you thinking, you're dead ass wrong. We're not going to go to no district attorney and say, can you go ahead and cut him a break because he gave us nothing? Nigga, don't work that way. When the fuck did life start working that way? It don't work that way. That's a fuck fantasy. You gotta give to give. And that's just being real. How we
Did you hear Investigator Gaither back Detective Thorpe up and tell you, you got to give to get, and that's just being real?
Yeah, I just heard it.
Ms. Copeland, these are just some examples. The reality is the detectives in this case
Mm,
had been encouraging you
mm,
to tell stories
mm,
on others to get yourself out of trouble,
mhm.
correct?
Correct.
For the 100th time, I've been telling you that.
You knew how to finesse on your own, right? But the detectives were also encouraging you to finesse, correct?
They were tricking me.
Should be wrapping up soon.
As I understand it, Mr. Copeland, your testimony is that you told many lies
Yes.
in these interviews in 2015, correct?
Yes,
Okay. I would like to just review with you some of the lies that you told, okay?
all right.
Here we go. Let's get into it.
First of all, I want to talk to you about the gray infinity,
Ooh, important.
okay?
That infinity, that's the one that's linked to the first count in the indictment, I believe, saying that there was an infinity that was rented, an infinity, I would try to say an infinity 10 times fast, that was rented under Young Thug's name, but it was rented by Woody or somebody else, and that infinity was used to kill Donovan Thomas.
All right. Through the questioning of the police, and I don't know, maybe through other information that you've been given, you're aware that there's a surveillance video of the shooting of Donovan Thomas, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And you're aware that the surveillance video shows a gray sedan, correct?
yes.
And you're aware that the police believe it to be an Infiniti, correct?
They put it on the news.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm going to ask Mr. Kokomo to publish DS-19A, which is a clip from States 378 Yankee A, which is the January 11, 2015 interview, from 3/18/47 to 3/19/38.
Who's Walter Lee Maddox?
Who?
Who's Dr. Maddox?
Hmm? No
Yeah.
D-man?
Did y'all ever rent or own an Infinity?
Infinity. Y'all ever wrecked one of those cars before?
So now you say,
Have you ever been stopped in an Infinity before? Yeah. Have an accident in an Infinity? No. A Maxima? Have I ever had a car wreck in? Mm-hmm. No. Let me think. Anytime. I had a car wreck in that Pontiac. That was a couple years ago. I ain't had no red. I ain't had no car wreck. I ain't had no red sleep. I ain't had none in it.
Okay, this is the same night that Donovan Thomas was shot and killed, correct?
Can you say it again?
This is the same night, this interview was the same night that Donovan Thomas was shot and killed, correct?
I guess.
Okay. And Detective Thorpe, you heard him. He asked if you've ever owned or rented an Infinity, correct?
That's what he said.
And you said no, right?
Right?
He asked if you ever wrecked an Infinity, right?
Right?
And you said no.
Right?
Okay. I'm going to publish, Your Honor, with your permission, DS-19B, which is a clip from that same interview on 378 Yankee Alpha, States Exhibit 378 Yankee Alpha from 3:20:28 to 3:20:48. It's just 20 seconds.
There's a video?
Yes. 3:20:28 to 3:20:48.
Y'all ever had a Infinity Gray?
It's not playing.
Gray? Y'all ever?
Is it up now?
No.
Okay. Could you start it over?
Y'all ever had a Infinity Gray? A gray Infinity Q45 before? A truck? No. A cup? Yeah. Not I know of. Actually, but maybe his car. A red car he had rented or something like that. That's cool. That's cool. I'll be sad.
Okay. In that clip, again, Detective Thorpe asked you about whether you ever had a gray Infinity, correct?
Right?
And you said, not that I know of.
Right?
of course, he was
Those were
lying
statements on January 11, 2015, hours.
because he knew Donovan. Presumably he knew that they were trying to link that Infinity to him because they knew Infinity was involved in killing Donovan Thomas. So of course he was lying, saying he had never rented an Infinity because he don't want to go to prison. And they obviously didn't have the information at that point that he was. They had some information, but they obviously didn't have enough to get him to admit to what happened at that time, or he didn't have a reason to. He didn't have a deal on the table. He had no reason.
After Donovan Thomas was shot, correct?
Right?
Okay. I want to talk to you about the reality. The reality is that you asked Jeffrey Williams to rent you a gray Infinity,
Let's get
correct?
it. All right, come on.
I'm listening.
Or I should say, you asked him to rent you a car, and it ended up being a gray Infinity, correct?
I'm listening.
Okay. The reality is that on the night of June 9th, going into the morning of June 10th, the same day that Donovan Thomas was shot, you were driving that Infinity on the highway, correct?
I don't know. I can't remember when I was driving it.
We just saw your testimony from earlier in this trial.
Yeah,
where
but you being specific about the time. I don't know.
Okay. The reality is,
I don't know when I written on the expressway. That's what I'm saying.
okay. Do you agree that it was, I'm not asking for a time, do you agree that it was on the evening of January 9th? It was nighttime that you wrecked.
It was
correct?
nighttime.
You were speeding on the highway and you hit some cones.
I lost control. Yeah.
And that was, I believe in your testimony, you said you wrecked the car. And let me be clear, Quindarius Zachary, Lil D from Cleveland, you know who I'm talking about?
Yes.
Lil D from Cleveland was in that car, that Infinity, with you on the night you wrecked.
Yes.
Okay. And after wrecking the car, you guys reattached the bumper on the side of the highway, correct?
How you know that?
You said it.
Is it true?
I'm listening.
Okay. And
Okay.
after you reattach the bumper. That's when you went and pulled up on threat Trevante Turner at a music studio somewhere around Northside Drive, I believe is what you said,
Yes.
correct? And you gave that car to that Infinity to Trevante Turner,
Yes.
okay? And in your testimony, you said then you went home, fell asleep, and the next day you woke up, and that's when the Donovan Thomas shooting occurred, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just working through this with you. I'm not trying to trick you. So, based on your testimony, you were driving that car, that Infinity, on the evening of January 9th going into January 10th, correct?
I guess.
Of 2015 with Mr. Zachary.
I guess.
And you gave that Infinity to your good friend, Threat,
Mm.
in the early morning hours of January 10th, 2015, correct?
I gave it to him at nighttime. It was dark.
Okay. So you don't remember if it was before midnight or after midnight. Is that what you're saying?
I don't keep up with the time.
Okay, that's fine. The bottom line is
You gave him the car.
you were specifically asked about that Infinity or an Infinity hours after Donovan Thomas was shot. And you denied ever being in possession of an Infinity, correct?
Say that again.
When you were asked on January 11th, early in the morning,
Correct.
talking to Detective Thorpe, when Detective Thorpe, the lead investigator of the Donovan Thomas murder, asked you about possessing a gray Infinity, you denied that you ever had one, correct?
Right.
Okay. Let's talk about the gun at the Dunbar Rec Center. As I understand your testimony, or as I understand your statements, let me back up. I'm sorry. At the Dunbar Rec Center, we're talking about a Diamondback 223 assault rifle, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, so we're not talking about a handgun. We're talking about a semi-automatic machine gun? Is that a fair assessment?
A chopper.
A chopper. Okay.
Chopper.
Um,
That's a chopper. Sorry.
and in your statements back in 2015, you repeatedly denied possession of that gun, didn't you?
They put it on me.
Okay. And your testimony actually here today is that you were just there playing basketball and they put it on you.
That's what the video would show.
Okay.
Mm.
You specifically said in your statements when you were trying to get out of jail, I ain't do nothing, right?
Right.
Okay. The reality is that you pled to that case in federal court, correct?
Yes.
Okay. In federal court, you acknowledged possessing that gun.
Yes.
Okay. And you were sentenced.
Yes.
Okay. And you served, and to be fair to you, you served your sentence, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about the stolen IDs in the rental car and the laptop in the apartment on June 10th, 2015, okay?
Yes, let's.
And that's the day that the federal agents kicked into Sean's door and locked you up. And that's also the same day that you made up the story and lied and said Demekion Garlington told you that Shannon and others were responsible for killing Donovan Thomas, right?
Yes.
Okay. Can you play DS23I for me, Mr. Kokomo, and that States Exhibit 378 Yankee Echo from June 10th, 2015, from 11:25:01 to 11:26:20.
Like I said, I didn't say that. You said, I tell you, did that shit. Yeah. Okay. There wasn't no nothing. Neither is the real. Little Mike.
Pause.
Can you play it again?
Yes, we can.
Like I said, I didn't say that. You said, I tell you, did that shit. Yeah. Okay. There wasn't no nothing. Neither is the real. Little Mike. Little Mike quiz.
In that clip, you're being asked about how those stolen items ended up in your apartment and your rental car, correct?
Yes,
And you're telling the investigators that you didn't do those auto breakings that resulted in those items being stolen, correct?
right.
You're saying it was Little Mike and Quez from Etheridge?
Yes.
You ain't never heard of them?
Mhm.
You ain't never heard of them? They wild them. Whatever they call themselves out there. I'm pretty wait. You put out the other day about 5 with y'all.
It's gonna be a lot of motherfuckers out there.
How am I gonna know it's them?
You.
Well,
Why you got to know?
I got it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to jewels off of them. What that means?
This is funny because
Well,
let me see if my prediction comes true.
Let's say somebody out there.
no, it's like, I mean, it's like,
What's the burger
they went off.
How?
How
What's the
did you
jury?
get it? How did you get it? Shit, then I got it. When they bought a cup, Tay bought a cup at them. Wait a minute, you let Tay borrow the Jeep. Yeah.
Lady, bro.
No. You know what I'm talking about. You talking about Javante. Yeah, you let Javante use the car. Yeah, he's supposed to look to you. You know what I'm saying? But when they pull that car, I let him go.
Don't know what's being said. Do y'all?
Okay. There you're saying
None of
that you gave the car to Javante, who gave it to Lil Mike and Quez, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you would agree that detectives Gaither and Dennis are telling you we've never even heard of Lil Mike and Quez, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland, Lil Mike is not a real person, is
No.
he? That was a finesse. You invented a person out of thin air, correct?
Yes.
Quez is not a real person.
I know the
You
boss
invented
is
him
like,
out of thin air on the spot,
damn.
correct?
Now we gotta
Yes.
take out the warrants against Lil Mike and Quez. Y'all, and this is their fault because they kept believing anything that Woody said. Anything he said, baby, they were so thirsty for a confession. They were thirsty to get this case resolved to the point that they would believe on an unreliable witness. And that is why they're in the situation that they're in today.
You invented those people to take the heat off of you and put it on fictional characters.
I done told y'all that's what I do.
That's your finesse, right?
Me
The
too.
reality is
Immunity.
that stolen merchandise was found in your apartment and in your rental car, and you invented fictional characters to take the heat off yourself, right? I know you're going to say, I told you that's what I do,
I guess.
but I got to ask the questions.
That's what he do.
You understand?
Yes.
Okay. October 27, 2021. Okay. Your Honor, may I approach?
You know,
Mr. Copeland, I am handing you what's been marked DS25C. Do you recognize the people in that photograph?
Yes.
Okay, and who are those people?
Me and the police.
Okay, and do you know either of the police officers' names?
Miss V, and I think that the white man named Kelly, something like that.
Okay, could the Caucasian gentleman be known as Investigator Kettle?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, and Ms. V is Investigator Viverito?
Yeah, the probation officer.
Okay. And are you in an interrogation room in that photo?
Yes.
Okay, and is that a photo from the interrogation of you on October 27, 2021?
Yes.
Okay, and at this time, Your Honor, I would ask to admit DS25C into evidence.
all right.
Mr.
submitted.
Kokomo, could you publish that? Okay, and like I asked you about the photo from June 10, 2015, I'm going to ask about this photo as well. You don't appear to be wearing a Fulton County blue uniform, are you?
No.
Okay, and I can't tell if you're were your arms shackled together during that interview?
My leg.
All right, and we see you're wearing Timberland boots, and we see a chain right next to the boot, correct?
To my leg.
Right, and that's shackling you to the ground.
Yes.
You are under arrest in this photo,
Absolutely.
Yes.
okay? And you know that you are soon to be wearing a Fulton County blue uniform, correct?
That's what they told me.
You are not
And
free to go.
the allegations of that case were you were pulled over at Atlantic Station in Atlanta, correct?
No.
Where were you?
Walking.
Okay, you were walking. All right. According to the police, they searched a car that they were saying was yours, right?
Yes.
And they found a handgun under the car seat, correct?
That's what they claim.
Okay. And you were a convicted felon, so you're not allowed to possess the handgun.
But I was walking.
Okay, I understand that that's what you're saying. But you were charged with reckless conduct and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
No. I was charged with driving with suspended license and a firearm.
Okay.
Mm.
Thank you for that correction. When you say firearm, you're talking about possession of firearm by a convicted felon.
Yes.
Okay. And there's a little complication with that explanation. You were in fact searched after you were arrested, correct?
I was tased and everything.
Okay. And when the police searched your clothing, correct?
Yes.
And they actually found a magazine
Mm.
in your pocket, and bullets in your pocket, correct?
That's what they say.
In the pocket of the pants you were wearing,
That's what
correct?
they say.
And when I say a magazine, that's a component of a gun that holds the bullets, correct?
I guess.
Okay. All right, Mr. Kokomo, could you play DS25B, which is from 10/27/21 interview from 2/23/05 to 2/23/58?
I think that video has been tendered and admitted.
Has it, do you know?
It has not.
I am asking to, well, I'll go about this a different way. Thank you, Ms. Hill.
I don't have an objection, so I'm just saying that it's not
Well,
admitted.
I might not need to play the video. Mr. Copeland,
Even better.
do you remember in that interview, you were asked about if that's not your gun in the car, and if you were just walking, why do you have a magazine with bullets in your pocket? Correct? You remember them asking you that?
Can I speak to my lawyer?
Yes. Well,
Yes, you can. Let's
course.
take a break anyway.
All right, I'm gonna pause here as well.
About 15 minutes.
Spicy. It's getting spicy.